Nobody really knows exactly how Suzanne Thatcher died. My guess is murder. I played it out in my head thousands of times. Trying to sneak out of her apartment by way of the fire exit, the killer pushed her down. The fall was enough to knock her unconscious, but not enough to totally kill her. So the murderer had to run back down the apartment into the alley way before anyone could notice the bloody mess. Before she could regain consciousness, she was choked. But that wasn't good enough. He had to twist her neck all the way around and cut off bits and pieces of her. Probably because he wanted to play with the people, make it look bigger than it was. The next step was probably the hardest part, getting away without being caught. The streets were busy. It's a wonder he managed to drop her without anybody noticing. He must have carefully wiped off the blood he got on his pants and shirt and took out a sheet of paper. He fumbled with a ballpoint pen he had tucked away and wrote a hasty note. He took care to place it on Thatcher's left breast, right on top of her heart. Once he was satisfied with his creation, he quietly slipped into the next crowd to pass him by. Then he found the nearest payphone and called the cops. He told them that he had killed Suzanne Thatcher and was going to kill more people, and they couldn't do anything about it. He told them where the body was, but never did he mention the missing parts. He mentioned that he had left a note, something to entertain themselves with. Before he could respond, he hung up and walked in the calmest manner you'd ever see a man. He walked away from the phone, and just like that, he was gone. But then again, that's just me. Nobody really knows exactly how Suzanne Thatcher died. I'm just guessing. Snow was falling. It was Christmas Eve after all, the one time a year where it snows without fail. It's interesting how that happens. Every other day is totally random. You never know what the weather will be like. I've seen it rain in the middle of summer, snow in the Easter, almost unbearably hot in January. But never in my 32 years of living have I seen a Christmas Eve where it didn't snow. At the time of the call, I was stuck in my office. When I said it was snowing, I was partly lying. What we had was a full-on blizzard. The building was blocked by massive snow, which probably fell from the roof. So as much as I hated to, I was taking the time to get some paperwork done. The one I was working on was about some robbery down in Santa Fe. A tall man, dressed in dark, apparently ran off with $400 in his pocket. That kind of stuff is common here. Common robberies for common criminals. I just placed the tip of my pen to the paper when the phone rang. I let it ring for a time as I contemplated whether I should answer it or not. It was the boss, Charlie Hampton. "I've got something for you, Davis." That would be me, Philip Davis. I've told the boss 1,000 times to call me by my first name, but he never listens. Because of that, I started calling him Hampton. Odd how that works. "Get over to 5th Street as soon as you can." That could be difficult. See, I'm kind of snowed into my office right now. "Well, you better get busy shoveling, 'cause this is big." The call lasted all of 8 seconds. Hampton always hated talking on the phone. Thinks it's too impersonal. Sighing, I set the paper I was working on down and took my coat off of its hanger. I walked out of my office after making sure everything was in place and went over to Brian's office. After knocking 3 times, I opened his door and found him doing what he does best: sleep. Bartholomew Laister, or Brian, was a fellow detective. He snatched up a nasty reputation after losing track of the famous light killer a few years ago. Ever since then, he screwed that job up. He's had all the time in the world just to sit back and sleep. "Hey, Brian, I need your help." He's got me no response. I figured as much. Once he falls asleep, there's no use trying to wake him up. Still, I really did need his help. Shoveling through 6 feet of snow isn't something one man can do in good time. So I slapped him in the face. His entire body reacted almost instantly. His eyes shot open, his feet flung forward, and the rest of him fell back. With a tremendous thud, he landed on the floor, looking quite pathetic as he did. "I need your help," I told him again. "Well, hey, why'd you have to go and hit me like that for? I was busy sleeping." "Well, I need your help." "What for?" "It had better be something important, 'cause I don't like being woke up." The front door snowed in. Hampton called and he needs me over at 5th Street. Brian groaned louder than a lion. He was still on the floor in the same position as he was when he fell. "All right, fine," he said. "But you owe me one." Sure. Now hurry and get up. Hampton's probably going crazy wondering where I am now." So I helped Brian get up, and we both grabbed a shovel from the closet. Opening the front door, we were greeted with a solid wall of snow. It had gotten bigger since the morning. I jammed my shovel into the wall, but all that accomplished was getting the shovel stuck. The wall seemed impenetrable. Brian took a shovel and carefully pawed away at the snow like an overgrown cat. This seemed to be effective, and in a few minutes my shovel fell down. This time I tried shoveling it into the bottom and levering up to weaken the wall. When I pulled the shovel out, the wall collapsed. The snow flew inside, almost knocking me to the floor. Brian rose his arms to protect his face, as if it could help. The mini-avalanche went on for longer than it should have, and once it was over, the building floor was covered with at least 3 inches of snow. And luckily, the door outside was now clear. Well, clear enough to get through. "Thanks, Brian," I said. "That'll be good enough." "But what about this mess?" he said. "You're going to help me clean it, aren't you?" "Geez, I'd love to, but Hampton sounded serious. I'm sure you can do it by yourself." I zipped my coat up and walked out of the building over to my car. Because of the cold, it was difficult to start, but after several tries it decided it would comply with me. I pulled out of the parking lot and started on my way to 5th Street. Come to think of it, I never did get back to that robbery case. Well, everyone, that was Bloody Flowers Part 1 by Random Name 158. You can check out his writing website on the info of this video. Also, if you like this video, please click that yellowish button up there that says subscribe. That would really help me, and I'd really appreciate that. Alright, thanks.